Yo, what's up? It's Indigo, aka Refined Divine Slime, and I'm here with another video about an iceberg. So this dawned on me yesterday. This is going to be the American Judgment of Mental Illness iceberg, and I'm going to go through the generations to talk about how our collective consciousness in the U.S. has evolved to understand and unpack mental illness and abuse. So first, starting with boomer mentality. Now, disclaimer, this is just my opinion and what I have noticed and what I've picked up and what I've observed. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe other people have noticed different things. I'm not saying every generation is cut and dry. You know, obviously people are different through different generations, but these are just trends I've noticed. I would love to see if you notice something similar or you have a different opinion, so you can leave that in the comments. And if anybody here is a psychologist or a sociologist, definitely please inform me on anything you know about this topic. All right, starting with the boomer mentality. What I've noticed with them as it relates to abuse is denial. For example, in the nuclear family is praised, it's seen as correct, there's nothing wrong with it. Just ignore the toxicity, ignore the abuse, everything's great, that's how it's supposed to be. Also, something else I've noticed from boomers is dismissive ambivalence. So forgive your parents or forgive the person that hurt you. They didn't mean it, let it go, ignore the impact and the lasting harm. Don't unpack it, don't dive deep into it. Just say, oh, they didn't mean anything and move on. Gen X mentality. This is something specifically I noticed with some Gen X in my life. Toxic positivity. Yes, they hurt you, but what they did was wrong, but they were hurt. Don't hold it against them. Don't judge them. Don't get distance from them. Don't acknowledge or express your anger. Just be the bigger person. So it's kind of like they will admit the abuse happened, but instead of going through your healing process or feeling your anger or your frustration or getting distance, just forgive them. Just slather some positivity on it and assume they had good intentions. Now here's the really big flip. The millennial and Gen Z mentality is like a 180 from the Gen X and the boomer mentality. One is escapism. Fuck them, cut them off, run into someone else's arms that feels safer and affirms everything you think and feel. That's, I guess, a more immature way people deal with it, where instead of analyzing what happened, trying to unpack it, just move on, fuck them. Another one that I noticed in millennial and Gen Z is judgment without grace. Oh, whoever hurt you, dismiss them, cut them off, create massive distance. Your feelings are valid and their actions are unacceptable. Intention versus impact. So who cares what their intentions were? Their impact was negative, so don't even think about what their intentions were. You don't have to try to understand someone who hurt you. Basically, I see this as supporting the victim, but in a certain way, it's kind of coddling the victim and completely dismissing and, having no grace or understanding for the villain, and also having it's like very black and white. It's like either you're a victim or a villain. There's no in between. There's no acknowledgement that you're sometimes both. It's like, oh, that's the bad guy. You're the victim. You didn't deserve that. You deserve all this grace, all this understanding. You should be believed, no questions. If you act out or retaliate, it's all justified. And if you want to dismiss them, cut them off, that's totally valid. That's kind of what I've noticed with the Gen Z. And at first, it seems affirming if you've experienced something and you felt like a victim. You feel like, oh, finally someone's acknowledging my pain. But then after a while, what you notice is if you just keep discarding people who hurt you, you'll look around and you'll have not that too many people in your life, because everyone's imperfect and people hurt you all the time. And if you fail to understand why people hurt you and the dynamics of a complex or harmful relationship, then you're going to end up isolating yourself and not really knowing how to heal relationships. You'll just know how to push people away and validate your own trauma, which is still a step in the right direction, but it could use a little work. So this next category I call the unknown, because these are perspectives that I've seen going around in some Gen Z and millennials. I mean, some people from all the generations have this perspective, but it's a little bit less common. So acknowledge the abuse and harm and take responsibility for your own healing. So instead of just saying, I'm right, they're wrong, fuck them, dismiss them, whatever, coddle your own feelings, justify your own reactions. It's also, instead of just doing that, it's, well, what was my part in it? How could I have handled the situation differently? Did I miss some red flags? Did I fail to understand the situation and prevent, something from happening? Did I fail to manage the situation? A lot of people might say, oh, that's victim blaming. No, I'm not saying it's the victim's fault or anything. I'm just saying as you grow in life, you need to understand how to see and prepare for difficult situations and relationships, and not just let the same thing keep happening over and over, because there's hurt people everywhere. If you don't start to notice the patterns and be able to deal with certain situations, you're just going to keep repeating the same trauma that you could have avoided. So basically, use what you learn to better navigate future relationships. And that's something where you can acknowledge your victimhood, but you can also grow as a person. You're not just stuck there, and then you can move forward feeling safer and feeling better equipped to protect yourself in the future. The next step, I'm thinking, collective healing. See the one who hurt you as a mirror of the state of humanity and your lack of understanding of how to deal with the situation as a mirror of your own ignorance. Give everyone grace, force nothing, take your time, and allow yourself to gain understanding and grow naturally. Be open to the possibility that healing can happen in unexpected ways, and that as you or the other person heal, you can heal each other. A relationship is truly a two-way street. Someone harming you is certainly not your fault. That doesn't mean both can't learn from each other, and in the end, better understand life because of it. So one great example is like a lot of people have issues with their parents. Now, one Gen Z mentality is, oh, just cut them off, push them away, whatever. But they're your parents, and it's not good to be dismissive either and say, well, they're your parents, so just forgive them. But maybe a middle path could be like, okay, acknowledge your pain and acknowledge the hurt, but also realize there's ways that you can take responsibility and cultivate healing in a healthy, balanced way, because you care about that person, but you also know it's not fair for you to just keep feeling hurt. So here's the next step. And this is like, I guess, kind of a Buddhist idea. This is where I'm coming from. I have no enemy. The person who hurts me is like a baby biting on his mother's tit out of hunger. So instead of demonizing the person that hurt you and internalizing that victimization, you can realize the only reason why a person hurts me is because there's something they're lacking. There's something they're yearning for on the inside. I don't have to take it personally. I can analyze it and figure out why is that, how to navigate the situation, and let it go. Don't hold the grudge. Don't hold on to that anger. And then here's the last one. And this is, I really hope humanity can start to push in this direction, because I think it's really important. Realism. We live in a dystopian society. If we don't get abuse from our family, we get it from our friends or romantic partners. If not them, we get it from institutions. If not institutions, from the government. Most of us has experienced abuse from all these sources. And if we begrudgingly look at ourselves, we have passed on that harm more than once. This is the hard reality. That doesn't justify anyone's harm, but it reinforces that healing is a collective process, and that someone's harmful actions often aren't out of specifically and intentionally choosing you to pick on. Most of the time, people aren't fully aware of how they're causing harm and don't know how to escape the emotional patterns their harmful behavior arises from. When someone is suffering and knows no way out, they must find catharsis in deliberate harm somewhere, either self-harm or harming others, often both. So if we got to a place of realism, we realize, oh my God, we're all mentally ill. We live in a dystopian society. We all do problematic things. We all hurt each other. Instead of just pointing fingers and saying, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. There's a spectrum of good guys and bad guys, but we can all choose to take personal responsibility to heal ourselves and set an example to show our community how to heal. And instead of personalizing everything, we can let go. We cannot take it personally. We can learn to slowly forgive on our own time and try to continue to cultivate healing and further understanding in our society, and realizes it's not just one person's fault or that person's fault. We are all in this together, and we're all showing that we are all in pain. That's what's going on right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think and share this with your friends. I thought it was powerful. Bye.